this is by way of an extraordinary meeting, so I think it's best left unminuted. Unminuted, Mrs. Evans.
Unminuted? Oh,
In view of the fact that we haven't notified all the members. Now, unfortunately, the group responsible for the military have fallen rather behindhand.
Which was not exactly my fault.
Yes, points taken. But, well, the problem is that the others responsible for the Market Square group have drawn rather farther ahead. In fact, more than some of us feel is right under the circumstances. So the aim of this meeting is to restore the balance, as it were. Now, I will now ask Captain Barton, who has very kindly offered to help us with these proceedings, and to tell us what he can immediately suggest.
Thank you, Chairman. Now, as you know, I've already had quite lengthy talks, primarily with Mrs. Dixon, so I'm not entirely out of the picture. The situation, as it appears to me, is this. We have one highly under-organized, but basically benevolent faction, and a second highly organized, but undoubtedly malevolent faction. Is that the case?
I think malevolent is rather a strong word
No,
to use.
no, I don't want to contradict you, but they're scum, Dixon. Scum! Grubby little men with grubby little minds, and they're making use of you, make no mistake about that. Now, let's get this clear. They are filth, vermin. In a wartime situation, that fellow Collins would have been hanged long ago, so it's better that we start from that premise.
Ah.
Oh, a boiled sweet, thank you so much. Yes, I'll have that one when I'm in the naffy. Now, how to deal with them? I have here a map of the Market Square. Now, it's reasonably up to date. It'll suit our purposes, you see. Now, the thing to bear in mind straight away is that we're not going to win this fight through strength of numbers. Now, I'm sure we can find some volunteers if we had time to look for them, but we haven't. So it's down to strategy. Now, we're forced to treat all people not involved as neutral civilians who will run away at the first sign of trouble. And oh, there's going to be trouble, make no mistake about that.
Don't you think that could be avoided, Captain?
Oh, listen, Dixon, this lot is highly organized. I've had a snoop around for myself, and I live with one of them, God help me, when she can be bothered to come home at all, and so I know exactly what they're all about. This is a mob of youths and louts who are spoiling for a fight with you lot as their prime target. As soon as you send your three-man army in for the charge, you'll be torn to pieces.
What did I tell you?
Yes, but why?
Why? Because this fellow wants his rally or his meeting or whatever it is to go ahead uninterrupted, that's why. As soon as he gets on his soapbox spouting his rubbish, you'll never get him off. As your wife quite rightly says, he's half off his chump. He actually thinks he is this fellow Winkle.
Cockle.
Cockle. And he's taking the law into his own hands. Now, I think I could probably get together about a dozen reliable men for that Saturday. And probably, if they're not playing golf. Well, I phoned around and I've had a few half promises. So we'd better pray for wet weather, hadn't we? Then half the scum won't turn up either. Now, this room obviously becomes the HQ. This chap listening to this?
He's fallen asleep.
Hardly officer material, is he?
He's the Earl of Dorset.
Oh, well, God help the Countess. Now, as I said, this room becomes the HQ, and it is from here that we're going to run things. Sorry about that. False alarm, can't be too careful. Now, look at this map. We are here, you see, at the moment, and those crash doors there are approximately here. Now, this is the first port of concealment, and we can conceal other troops in the library, because, as you recall, the reading room looks out over the square.
Oh dear, Mr. Chairman, a great many people, including elderly folk, make regular use of the reading room. I think the sight of military uniforms might cause unnecessary alarm.
No, I've already thought about that. they can wear macks over their uniforms and conceal their hats till I give the signal and they strip off into action.
Ideally, they should have wigs as well.
No one know where that's out for a start. You can't have a lot of chaps wandering around the reading room in wigs. It would upset people.
Look, at the rate we're going, we won't need any uniforms. This is going to be a
No,
free-for-all.
no, you still need uniforms, otherwise you'll be punching your own side instead of the enemy.
Well, how will we know the enemy, Captain?
Ah,
I mean,
anyone wearing a jerkin, clout him! Ask questions afterwards. Now, there will be other points of concealment here, behind the alleyway, here in the bus shelter, and I suppose I could station a couple of chaps here behind the war memorial, you see. Now, I've drawn up a detailed timetable. This will tell us where we are. Oh, you help yourself. This will tell us where we are and where to go when I give the signal. Now, basically, we have to get Collins, who will be on his rostrum, you see. As soon as we've nobbled the ringleader, the rest of the crowd will lose heart. All except the hardcore, of course. Now, oh, are you reading this?
yes, we are.
What will the ladies do?
Well, they can keep out of trouble mainly, or bathe sore heads. Now we've got a diversion. Reminded me. This is where the diversion comes in, with the hardcore, you see. Now, somebody mentioned a horse.
Yes,
Have you got it?
I have managed to borrow a horse.
Yeah, good, splendid.
Yes, but it's not a real one.
What is it, stuffed?
Well, no, it's hard to describe. It's by way of a stylized horse.
Yes, well, it'd have to do, I suppose. Something to attract attention.
Oh, but the police do feel.
No, never mind about the police. You can't rely on them. No, they'll be huddled in doorways along with everybody else. First sign of trouble. And who's supposed to be riding the horse?
The Earl of Dorset.
Well, this chap.
Yes.
I'm supposed to be safer up there than even on the ground by the look of him. Anyway, he will be the diversion then. He goes in first because he's dispensable. Yes, under cover of him, we all make a dash for Collins.
Well, what will the ladies do?
As I told you before, have you got cloth ears? You'll bandage heads, that sort of thing. Now, we have a crisis of uniforms, I believe.
Yes, desperate.
Well, I suppose we could sort out and make do. I mean, we haven't got to look immaculate, have we? I mean, we're hardly going on dress parade. dress parade. Yeah. Weapons. What weapons do we own?
Muskets.
Splendid.
Wooden?
And we'll reverse the ends, use them as clubs.
Mr. Chairman, I think we're approaching this in a very belligerent manner. I myself think that we may have misjudged Mr. Collins and that the whole affair may pass off without incident.
So in that case, we won't use violence. No, we'll carry out the plan exactly as we have planned, but in the friendly spirit of the pageant. You see, this plan works equally well either way. Peacefully, if need be, or if not, well, we won't be the aggressors. We'll let them strike the first blow, but only the first one, you see? Only the first one. Now, if that's all agreed, yes? Good. If that's all agreed, I think I shall go away, do some more work on it, and then we'll come back and discuss it further.
Yes, we only
How
have...
long have we got?
6 days.
6 days. Well, we better get weaving then, hadn't we? Now, I don't want you to be alarmed about all this. I'm sure, as we said, that it will all pass off perfectly peacefully.
Oh, for God's sake!
Get down, everybody! Get down!
Oh,
Get
An
down!
Italian waiter!
Oh,
Oh my God!
Oh, I beg your pardon. Didn't mean to startle you. Old war souvenir, you see. Keep it for muggers and intruders and so on.
Have you not intended to use that on the day, Captain?
Well, I hope it won't come to that, Dixon. I sincerely hope it won't. Good night to you.
good night.
nice.
Well, I think in the event the pageant should pass off without incident.